Book Summary: The Invisible Gorilla by Christopher Chabris and Daniel Simons. Enjoyed the video. Please subscribing to my channel for more great content like this. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. The Invisible Gorilla by Christopher Chabris and Daniel Simons explores how our intuitions can deceive us. The authors discuss the illusion of attention, memory, confidence, knowledge, and potential. They argue that our brains filter out a vast amount of information, leading us to miss much more than we realize. Here are 5 real cases from the book. 1. A police officer mistakenly shoots an unarmed suspect, showcasing the illusion of memory. 2. A chess master fails to notice a change in the position of pieces on a board, illustrating the illusion of attention. 3. Investors overestimate their financial acumen, a case of the illusion of confidence. 4. A company invests in a failed technology due to overestimating their knowledge, demonstrating the illusion of knowledge. 5. A basketball player misses an important free throw due to pressure, an example of the illusion of potential. Christopher Chabris is a psychology professor and leads a brain science program at Union University in New York. He's good at chess and writes about it for the Wall Street Journal. Professor Daniel Simons studies how people think and teaches at the University of Illinois. He works in the psychology department and also at the Beckman Institute, which helps science and technology grow. Together, Chabris and Simons won a special Nobel Prize for making people laugh and then think about their study on not noticing obvious things, like the invisible gorilla. Can your gut feelings trick you? Often, how sure people seem is more about their personality than what they really know or can do. Do you think you're smart, kind, and fair? No matter how you see yourself, it's easy to think too highly of what your brain can do. Lots of self-help books say to trust your gut to make good choices. This book explains why that's not great advice. Actually, you might argue that you can't trust your gut at all, not even to notice a gorilla walking through a room. We're often told to trust our gut because it feels right. This advice usually means that our natural instincts are the best guide for decisions and understanding situations. Lately, many books about management and psychology say it's better to go with your gut than to analyze too much. In Malcolm Gladwell's book The Power of Thinking Without Thinking, he says gut feelings are better than deep thinking. He tells about a Greek statue that showed up in an art market. Experts who trusted their gut said it was real, but later, it was proven fake. But our instincts have limits and can be wrong. There are lots of times when experts missed fakes. For example, a bookseller named Thomas J. Wise found and sold old manuscripts with famous authors' names on them. Libraries and collectors thought they were real until 2 British merchants checked the authors' lives and proved they were fakes. We also have sayings like, "Don't judge a book by its cover," because we know we can't understand everything at first glance. We don't notice or pay attention as much as we think. If someone was hurt on the street, you'd spot it right away, wouldn't you? Even though we usually see things that stand out, if we're really focused on something else, we might miss something big. The authors made up the invisible gorilla test to show how we can overlook obvious things. In the test, people watched a basketball game video and counted the scores. But a person in a gorilla costume walked onto the court, stayed for 9 seconds, and beat his chest. You'd think everyone would see that. But nope. About half didn't see the gorilla because they were busy counting scores. And it's not just when we're busy with something else, we often don't see what we're not looking for. Imagine you're in a store checking off your grocery list. You're probably not noticing lots of other things around you. That's usually okay, but what if we miss something big and risky? Yes, it can happen, like not seeing a motorcycle. More than half of all motorcycle crashes involve cars, and 65% are the result of a car turning left and the driver not seeing the motorcycle. This happens because they are looking at other cars than motorbikes. Our memories aren't as clear or reliable as we think. Have you ever been sure about a childhood memory, only to find out from family that it didn't happen that way? It makes you wonder how we can trust our memories so much. In a study, almost half the people thought memories don't change, and most said memories are like videos that capture everything perfectly and can be checked anytime. But that's not right. Our memories often add things that weren't there. In one test, students remembered a word that wasn't on a list because it was related to all the other words they read. Also, sometimes we think a memory is ours when it's not. One of the author's friends, Ken, had a detailed story about meeting an actor, but it never happened to him. He just heard the story and thought it was his own. This mix-up is called memory failure, and it's one way our memory plays tricks on us. Being too sure can fool us. You might think you're really smart, maybe even smarter than most. But this kind of confidence can be misleading. We often think too highly of ourselves, which makes us confident without good reason. Surveys show that most Americans and Canadians think they're smarter than average. But mathematically, that can't be true for everyone. So some people are definitely overestimating themselves. The authors saw this with chess players too. Even though they have rankings, many thought they should be rated higher. The less skilled players especially overrated their abilities. But it's not just about being overconfident ourselves, we also believe other people who seem sure of themselves. In one study, people trusted a doctor who acted confident more than one who double-checked his diagnosis. This shows we tend to think confident people know what they're doing, even more than those who are cautious. We don't know as much as we think. Do you really understand how a toilet works? Probably not as well as you think. Take bicycles for example. Most people say they know how they work, but can they draw one correctly? When tested, many couldn't do it well at all. People think they know more than they do. In a test, people said they knew about bikes pretty well, but some drew them wrong, with chains and places that wouldn't work. We often know what something does, but not how it does it. The more we use something, the more we think we understand it. We also think we get complex things if we have lots of info on them. In an experiment, people put money in two funds, A and B. They got updates on their money every month, year, or 5 years and could change where their money was. You'd think more updates would be better, right? Wrong. People who got updates every 5 years made more than double the money because they thought long-term. Those who got monthly updates kept changing their investments and missed out on big money later on. This shows that more info doesn't always mean better understanding. Sometimes it can even distract us from what's really important. We sometimes think things are connected when they're not. People often believe where there's smoke, there's fire, but that's not always true. We think this because we like stories and cause and effect. For example, some think that songs with sexual content make young people act risky, but there's no proof. We also see connections that aren't there. Like when doctors asked arthritis patients to track their pain and weather, they found no link. But when students were asked to find a link between pain and weather, 87% did because they expected it. We also mix up things happening together with one causing the other. Like thinking ice cream sales cause drowning because both happen more in summer. But really, it's just because it's hot. We like to think we have hidden talents or unused brain power. Like the myth that we only use 10% of our brains. If that were true, the unused parts would die off. Plus, having big heads with mostly unused brains wouldn't make sense for giving birth. We also think it's easy to unlock our brain's potential. Like the Mozart effect, where people thought listening to Mozart made them smarter. But no one has proven it true, even though many still believe it. In conclusion, our gut feelings and thinking skills can trick us. We're not as smart or aware as we think, and we're not as in tune with the world either. When we focus on one thing, we might miss other important stuff. This can be risky, like when driving, if we don't watch out for surprises. This is true for business too. If we only look at one thing, we could miss out on big chances that are right there. The end. Thanks you for watching. Please subscribing, like and shares. See you next video.